Money is not tied to hard work. It's tied to the value that you provide to the world. So treat money like she's your bestie. Maybe that's even admitting to yourself that you want to make a lot of money. I see that so much with my clients where they come to me, they're excited, and then I'm like, hey, what are your goals? And they try to mute themselves. They try to make their goals smaller. And I'm like, no. That's not what we're doing here. If your parents forever are like, rich people are bad, don't talk about money, there's a subconscious part of you that wants to be loved and accepted by your family. And you don't want your family to hate you or think you're a bad person. So if they say rich people are bad, you're going to subconsciously be like, I don't want to be a rich person because then my family's going to think I'm bad. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the It Girl Mindset. Today we're talking about money. I am so obsessed with money and learning about the energy of money, why people have money and why people don't have money. It's just really interesting to me how many stories we put on money. So we're going to get into the energy of money, how to manifest money, your attachment style to money, and how to create your rich girl identity, okay? Welcome to the It Girl Mindset, where I help you step into the next level version of yourself by mastering your mindset, manifesting your deepest desires, and connecting deeply with your body. It's about becoming the most authentic, radiant, unapologetic, and unbothered version of yourself. Together, we're going to chat about how to unlock your true potential and create a life that feels as good as it looks. If you're ready to become the healthiest, hottest, and most abundant version of yourself, you're in the perfect place. Let's get into it. Okay, my queens. Before we get into the episode, I have a quick announcement. I am running a free masterclass called Unlocked, Brainwash Yourself to be Hot, Rich, and Successful, okay? In this episode right now, I'm touching on the energetics and neuroscience of money. But if you truly want to brainwash yourself to be hot, rich, and successful, I'm going over every nitty-gritty detail, okay? We're also going to do a brainwashing session live together as a hypnosis. You can really start to feel what that actually feels like, okay? You're not only going to learn about the neuroscience and the energetics, but we're also going to be doing a real life hypnosis together. This Wednesday at 4 p.m. PST. I want to see you there, okay? Honestly, if you resonate with this episode, you're going to love the masterclass, okay? I want you to be hot, rich, and successful as you truly desire. You deserve that, okay? If you want to lose weight and you've continued to self-sabotage, if you want to make more money, but you have really struggled with your relationship with money, or if you want to be successful, start a side hustle, quit your corporate job, go all in on yourself, or get a promotion and continue to thrive in the corporate world, this is for you, okay? Again, I take an energetics and a neuroscience approach because both are equally as powerful. And as a logical girly, I needed to truly understand the science behind changing your brain before I could fully even commit to the energetics. That's why I'm explaining both in the Unlocked Masterclass. If you want to join completely free, the link is down in the show notes to get signed up. I'm rewarding the girlies that stay live. They're going to get a bonus, especially if you stay to the end. There will be a recording, but come live, be ready. All you need to do, bring a notebook and yourself and somewhere where you can be alone and close your eyes for a bit during the brainwashing session, okay? I'm so excited to see you guys there. So let's go ahead and get into the episode. First off, I want to talk about the energy of money because money is energy, right? We're the one that attaches meaning to it. Again, what I find so interesting about money, and honestly the body too, is we attach so much meaning to both of those things. Money and the body, I feel like in the whole entire world, we throw so much shit, so much of our own story, so many things on it, and it dictates how we feel and in turn how we actually live our lives. Money is neutral. Our body is neutral. We're the ones that attach meaning to it. And the beauty of that is we can change that. And so with money, it's not good or bad. We're just the ones that decide. It's actually completely neutral. We have just put our limiting beliefs and our projections and, what our parents told us about money, right? Like I grew up thinking that you can't talk about money. It's just a bad thing to talk about. And I'm just going to be honest. Like I grew up in a very well-off family where, I never had to have conversations about there not being enough of it, right? It was honestly just never talked about. I just knew that my mom had a job, she worked a lot, and I kind of got the things that I wanted. But again, money was never in the conversation. But if money did got brought up, it was like, oh my gosh, no. Like, don't talk about that. That's like a bad thing to talk about. And so it always felt like money was supposed to be very secretive, right? And I also attached money to working hard because my mom worked really hard and she had a really successful career, but she worked in an office a lot. So in my brain, you have to be working a lot to make a lot of money. That was just my original thought because of what I observed when I was younger. And I want to be very clear because money is not linked to hard work, or else people doing manual labor would be making the most money. People who are building things outside, there's always so much construction by my house, if I'm being honest. They were just building a roundabout, and me and my boyfriend, we were just walking Luna, and there's this guy. It's hot out, and he is just like hacking away. I don't even know what he was doing. He was like breaking cement or something, and I was like, in my brain, I was like, I hope you are so well compensated for this because that is so much effort. Like he was working hard. He was drenched in sweat. And I was like, I try to do this a lot where I'm just like, I hope you're making a lot of money. Like I'm sending so much money your way energetically. Because again, the people working the hardest are not the ones making the most money. There is no correlation to that, right? We all have the same 24 hours in a day, and some people are making millions and millions, and some people are just getting by. Another thing I find very interesting is people are making so much fucking money on social media, like ungodly amounts of money. And some of those people are influencers and they're just posting their life, right? And I'm not saying there's no hard work in that because there absolutely is. Posting on social media is hard work and it's hard in a different way. And then there's some people on social media specifically where they post for 5 years before something takes off, right? And in your brain, you might think, oh my gosh, she worked so hard for that. Then there's other people that post 2 times and all of a sudden they blow up, right? And you might put this own story on that where it's like, oh, they didn't work hard at all. They just got lucky. Again, working hard and making money, it doesn't prove causation. Hard work does not automatically mean you're going to make more money. Okay. And again, people make millions posting on social media, being a CEO of a company who maybe they are working a bajillion hours and working really hard in different ways. Or you could be a multi-millionaire by being born because you were born into a family who has a shit ton of money and you just got a trust fund, right? Want to be very clear on all these different examples because money doesn't have anything to do with working hard. You can work hard to make money, but you also can be in alignment and it could feel like you're literally just living your life and you're making money. Or you could be born into a family with a shit ton of money, right? Now, money is treated as energy because it behaves like it, okay? It's exchanged, it moves, it goes where there's a channel open for it. So if we think about it in that way, money isn't the thing that you're attracting, it's evidence that something got exchanged, right? So the question stops being, how do I get more? And it becomes, what am I actually transmitting so I can actually receive it, right? So 2 pieces do most of the work here. The first is your relationship to having and receiving. If money at some level reads unsafe or greedy or something that just takens, part of you is going to repel it while another part of you is actually chasing it. That's kind of the part where people are saying, I'm doing everything right, but nothing's actually happening. Because when you have these limiting beliefs where you're like, rich people are bad, I have to work so hard to make money, or just flat out talking negatively about money, you are going to subconsciously repel it because there are reasons why you have those beliefs. If your parents forever are like, rich people are bad, don't talk about money, There's a subconscious part of you that wants to be loved and accepted by your family, and you don't want your family to hate you. So if they think you're a bad person, so if they say rich people are bad, you're going to subconsciously be like, I don't want to be a rich person because then my family's going to think I'm bad. That's how your subconscious works. That's how the energy of money works. Now that we understand the energetics of money, I really want you to think about money as having a relationship. Do you have a toxic relationship with money? Kind of like a toxic boyfriend where it's like you're repeating these same patterns, you're talking negatively to each other, you're talking negatively about money, you're spending it and then pretending it doesn't exist, or you're just swiping your credit card and avoiding it, or are you anxiously checking, wondering when your next paycheck's going to come through, right? Like each of those things are toxic, right? That's not a positive relationship with money. So pretend that money is your bestie. How would you actually talk to money if it was your best friend? How can you trust money? I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I have learned with money is to trust it. It's really about how can you trust it so deeply? Because if you look back, it's been there for you the whole entire time. Maybe not exactly in the way that you want it to be, but if you get really honest with yourself, money has always been there for you. Now, the energy of money is an energy transmission, right? You go to work, you do the thing, you get paid for it. Money is not tied to hard work. It's tied to the value that you provide to the world. So treat money like she's your bestie. Treat it like you're in a relationship with it, right? You want to know where she's at, but you don't want to hold on so tightly that you actually push it away, okay? At the end, I'm going to have some activities for you to do to truly start to heal your relationship with money and manifest more of it. But for now, just really start to think about your relationship to money as if it was your best friend or a boyfriend. Now let's talk about the neuroscience. So first, I want to talk about the reticular activating system. We've talked about this a lot on here, but your brain is getting millions of bits of information and data all the time. You're only consciously aware of 5% of it. 95% is just locked in the subconscious, okay? That's why it's so important. If you want to make more money, you have to start focusing on the positives of money, right? With the reticular activating system, attention is set by what you're primed to look for. So when you decide that money is available to you, you're going to start noticing opportunities, asks, and openings that were actually already there, but your brain had blocked them from you. Nothing actually changed, but your filter did, okay? Second, the brain runs on prediction. So it generates expectations and then acts to make them true. If you expect rejection and you pitch yourself, like kind of tentatively, or you hedge the price a little bit, or you don't follow up, that's going to produce the rejection that you actually predicted. But if you expect the yes and you ask in a way that is clean and confident, that loop is closer to a self-fulfilling behavior cycle, okay, than it is to magic. Again, it's all one, right? The energetics, the neuroscience, it's all one. Third, scarcity is actually measurable. When people feel financially squeezed, their available cognitive bandwidth drops and decision quality with it, okay? Fear can actually narrow your perspective just to the next 20 minutes, which is exactly when people take underpriced work and stop building. When you actually regulate and feel safe with money, it's actually restoring the part of your brain that can plan, because your conscious mind can partially go offline when you're in scarcity. Then you're only running on those automatic behaviors, right? Your willpower gives out. You're just running on those subconscious beliefs and subconscious behaviors. Of course, we have to talk about beliefs because beliefs are patterns that fire together, often to become your default. Now, repeated emotionally charged input changes what feels true, which is why the reprogramming work is effective, even if you don't believe in the energetics of money, okay? Because that's why, I've talked about this 1,000 times, but subconscious reprogramming does both. It changes your brain to change your actual behavior, but then it also changes your energetic frequency. So, killing two birds with one stone. Now, a couple of things here I want to go over, because again, if you think you have to work hard to make money, That's not a fact. I want to be very clear, which I'm sure you can take from the beginning of this episode. I have to work hard to make money. You're basically telling yourself, I have to work hard to prove my worth, so you stay busy even if it's not intentional, okay? If you think there's never enough money, you subconsciously don't think you're actually enough, so you will unconsciously spend or energetically block yourself from making more money. Your brain is always trying to keep you safe. So why do you think your brain thinks it's safer to hold on to your limiting beliefs about money than it does to let them go? Again, a really amazing example of this is if your parents talk to you about how rich people are bad and greedy, you are going to subconsciously repel money because you don't want to be a rich person that your parents would think is bad, right? But once you understand that, once you recode those subconscious beliefs, you're able to allow money to flow in without thinking that your parents are going to exile you. Now, we've gone through the energetics of money. Obviously, this is scratching the surface. This is genuinely just a small part of the energetics of money. I could talk about it forever. We've also talked about the neuroscience of money as well, okay? Especially beliefs. Your reticular activating system, your beliefs, changing your brain, okay? Now we're going to talk about the money attachment styles. I find this so interesting, again, because just like relationships, right? You've heard of it, anxious, avoidant, insecure in relationships. We have patterns and beliefs and ways that we live because at one point it kept us safe. I'll be so real with you guys. I used to be very anxiously attached in every relationship. I was scared that they were going to leave me or abandon me. I had to work really hard to recode those beliefs to truly feel at peace in my relationship. Even with my current relationship, my boyfriend is a fucking angel. He's never done anything to ever have me not trust him, but due to how I grew up, things that I went through, beliefs that were carried, other relationships I've had, I developed a very anxious attachment, okay? Thank God he is an angel and helped me heal through that. But just like you are either anxious, avoidant, or secure in relationships, you can have the same thing with money. So if you have an anxious attachment to money, you're probably checking your bank account like a million times a day. You're probably refreshing your screen before your paycheck comes through. You're constantly micromanaging every little bit, probably afraid to spend on yourself and want to hold on to it more. There's so many ways that this presents itself in your day-to-day life, okay? And that's very common, but it's not normal, right? You want to feel at peace. You want to feel secure, which we'll go over in a second. Then there's the avoidant attachment. So basically, you do not want to know. You don't want to look at where your money's at. You're not looking at the amount you're spending. You're not looking at, how much money you have in the account. You're probably just buying things and avoiding even looking or thinking about it. Okay. Again, also, that's the other side of the spectrum. We don't want to be anxiously attached where we're constantly, have it in a chokehold and trying to control every little bit of it. But we also don't want to be avoidant where we're just completely ignoring our finances and our money and just don't ask, don't tell type of energy. That's also common, but not normal or healthy. Now, securely attached is what we want. That's when you know where your money is going. You buy things that you can afford. You probably budget. You're investing your money. You spend money knowing that you're going to get money, that you're going to get it back tenfold. You purchase from a place of love and nourishment, not fear. When you have a secure attachment with money, you just feel at peace with it. You know where your money is, you know your inflows and outflows, you know more's coming in, you trust it truly from the bottom of your heart, you trust it, okay? Again, you can be a combination of all of these, and maybe at some points you will, there's seasons for everything, right? But the goal is to be as secure as possible with money because you're just going to feel at peace with life. I think about this with my body too. When I was so obsessed with being skinny, obsessed with food, do you know how much brain power that takes up? That is mentally and physically exhausting. Same with money. If you're constantly like, oh my God, I don't know when another client's coming in. Oh my gosh, I don't know, I can't stop working because if I do, like, everything's going to fall apart and I'm never going to make the money that I want, right? Or you're completely avoiding it. These are not normal. That is very exhausting. That takes up so much mental capacity. And that's the thing. Again, why I'm obsessed with money and the body is those are two things that you can't live without. Your body directly affects how you feel, and your money directly affects how you live. You can't live without either of these. That's why I feel so passionate about this, is because how you feel in your body, how you feel with money determines your whole entire life. Every second of every hour. And if you are obsessed with it or completely avoidant from it, neither of those are good. That's mentally and physically exhausting. You have to be securely attached to both. I'm going to get into I keep wanting to ask you questions, but I'm like, no, I'm going to leave that till the end because I want to just have you learn everything and then have all the questions answered at the end. Okay, now I did pull some cards because I really wanted to tap into the energy of you girlies and understand, what you really needed to hear. Okay. The first card that I pulled was disruption. Okay. And the energy that really came through is you don't need to play it so safe. Okay. If you have, a side hustle, or you want to quit your corporate job, or you want the promotion, stop playing it so safe. You need to disrupt something, right? Money loves speed. Money loves disruption, right? When you're doing different and you're really just like you're on your own path and you disrupt something, again, that could be launching a product or a service. That could be, asking for the promotion, even if it feels like the wrong time. Like, you need this disruptive energy, okay? You don't need to play it safe. You need to go after what you truly want. The next card I pulled is actually the ghost card. And what this means is a lot of you don't have a relationship with money at all, or were even aware that that's a thing. And the beauty of it is you can start from scratch. Now you have all this information and it's up to you to go and actually do something about it. You need to start to build that relationship. And think about it. When you first meet someone, you're not going to go from 0 to 100 in a day. Slowly build that relationship, get to know your relationship with money, get curious about it, start to question your beliefs, right? Like, you don't have to go from 0 to 100. You just need to start slowly building that relationship piece by piece to truly start to trust it. The last card I pulled was the magic card. So this is really just like believing in the magic of money. Has it actually ever failed you? Have you actually made it out of every situation alive? So start trusting it and use that tiny little baby evidence to believe in the magic of money. Again, you have to start small. You can't just be like, okay, $10,000, come on, right here tomorrow. No, you need to start small. And that can start with, just changing your language around money. Stop talking negatively. Start being like, okay, I'm open to receiving more money. I trust you, money. Even if you find a penny, that's evidence right there. That's money coming to you right there. Start small, build that piggy bank of evidence, and then slowly start to grow stronger and stronger, more securely attached, having more trust, okay? Okay, lastly is your rich girl identity, okay? You need to build her. This is not, and I always say this, I know I don't need to caveat this to you girlies because you're my girlies and you get it, but when you are creating an identity, this is not the end-all be-all identity forever. As you go throughout your journey and you build and you grow and you learn more about yourself, this will shift and it will change, and that's okay. But for you, based on the beliefs and the knowledge that you have right now, I want you to imagine your rich girl identity. So this rich girl version of you, who is she? How does she dress? How does she speak about money? How does she invest her money? What are her daily, weekly, and monthly habits? What is her job? What is her career? How does she make other people feel? What is her energy? Again, the more nitty-gritty you get, the more of a vision your brain actually starts to have. So then you can actually start working towards it. Because if you're like, yeah, I want more money. Cool. The universe is like, cool. Now what? Like, you got to be more specific. You have to be more specific because then you start to have a vision and then you actually know how to take action towards it, okay? Your brain loves specificity. Your reticular activating system, your beliefs, all of it. Be specific, okay? This is actually something I just did because we had a new girly. I've had a bunch of girlies joining the code recently. So I've been having a lot of onboarding calls, and in the onboarding calls, we go through your goals, get very specific, but then we ingrain that vision of whatever your goal is into your timeline in your brain. You have a timeline in your brain of memories. You can go all the way back to when you were born, and you can go all the way forward into the future. We literally put your vision, your rich, your hot, whatever it is, identity into your timeline. So again, your brain has a destination. It's like, okay, cool. We know by this time, we want this much money. We want to be making 20K months, 30K months, 40K months. Cool. Now we've got it in the future. Now we just got to align everything now to actually get there, okay? Now, questions I want to leave you with. What is your relationship with money, and how can you take a baby step in the right direction to actually feel safe with money? Baby steps. Some examples could be, maybe that's every single morning saying, I trust you, money, and I'm open to receiving more, okay? Maybe that's recoding a limiting belief about money that you have to work really hard to make a shit ton of money. Maybe that's even admitting to yourself that you want to make a lot of money. I see that so much with my clients where they come to me, they're excited, and then I'm like, hey, what are your goals? And they try to mute themselves. They try to make their goals smaller. And I'm like, no, that's not what we're doing here. What are your actual goals that you want deep down? Because if you can't admit it to yourself, there's no way the universe is going to be able to respond. And there's also just no way that you're actually going to show up and do the things that you need to do if you don't actually believe that you can reach those goals. So, what do you really want? This is another question I'm going to ask you. What do you really want? Is that to start a business and make multi-millions of dollars every single year? Is that, a little more low key and you want to make $20,000 months and only work a couple hours a day? Like, what do you actually want? Be so for real with yourself, because look, I'm going to tell you this right now. Every single person, every single client I've worked with has a completely different idea of what the success and the money that they desire is. Which is why I can tell you right now, whatever is in your brain is in there for a reason. If it is in your brain, it's possible for you. But you just have to have the audacity and the confidence and get out of your comfort zone enough to actually go after it. And step one is admitting to yourself. So that's what I want you to do. What's your relationship with money, and how can you take a baby step in the right direction to feel safe? 2, what's your actual goals with money? 3, your rich girl identity. 3, what is your money attachment style, and how can you take a baby step to be more in the secure attachment? And number 4 is, what is your rich girl identity? What are her habits? How does she dress? How does she speak? Everything, map it out, okay? What's another fun thing to do is, say you want to make $50,000 months. Open a Notion, open a new Notion page in your notes. Be like, okay, if I was making $50,000 a month, where would this money go? Okay. Again, you're just training your brain to be so clear about, hey, look, this is what I'm going to use this money for. And again, it'll get you excited and motivated about money, right? And again, when you spend time with money, you're just connecting with it at an energetic level. I want you to be as rich as you want to be. Don't worry if people say you should just want peace, okay? You can have peace and money at the same time. And honestly, making the money that you truly desire is going to give you more peace than just regulating your nervous system, okay? Spend time with money, work on the energy of money, work on your beliefs around money, recode those beliefs, create your rich girl identity, okay? If you listen to the end, I just know you have the ability to make as much money as you fucking want. Yes, I'm aggressive about this because money is freedom. Money determines your life and how you live it and your lifestyle. So don't be afraid to want to make more of it. Okay, my loves, that wraps up this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also follow me on Instagram if you don't, at Ashley Robutz. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next episode.